и в пребываете?
Да.
М?
Да. Все нормально. Я, да, со здоровьем и так. Самое главное, что со здоровьем все хорошо.
Да, сейчас это актуально,
Да.
гораздо актуальнее, чем традиционно.
Ну, дай бог, да. И сейчас это везде актуально.
Да, да.
Да. Вот. Я в августе месяце заболел, и вот весь август. Да, весь август. С 8 августа по 2 сентября. Вот. Хорошо. Давайте тогда. Спасибо большое, что вы собрались вместе с нами. Первый вопрос. Вы получали наши комментарии?
Да, получали.
Спасибо. И имели возможность их посмотреть, да?
Да, конечно. Просто так получается, что я отвечаю на вопросы, но все-таки Вано и Батон Нодар, они и Батон Георгий, они были более вникнуты в этих проектах, потому что, к сожалению, во второй раз у меня не было возможности посетить эти наши компании, и поэтому я вот как раз в онлайн обменивался мнениями с участниками группы. Наверное, Вано и остальные члены команды, они более четко ответят на вопрос.
А скажите, вы на ГИАМ ездили, да, второй раз?
Да.
Вот
Во второй раз нет.
Нет?
Только первый раз.
А на Титане ездили, да?
Да, ну, я первый раз посетил обе компании. Потом уже не было возможности для меня, чтобы посетить эти компании. То есть во второй раз.
Скажите, пожалуйста, Вано, и куда-то у нас делся Георгий. Вы по-русски понимаете или вам по-английски удобно?
Английский язык удобно.
Რომელიც გეკომფორტულება, ვანო.
Инглишური. Английский.
Перейдем speak English?
I prefer English.
Okay. Now I will go through first the GIAM report.
Okay.
As far as I understand that you cannot get more information from GIAM because the company is not working, right?
Yes, that's correct. Partially correct. On second visit, we have possibility to ask them the questionnaire, but situation was same as first visit.
Ano mikrofonიდან შორს ხარ? სულად ისმის.
Just a minute. Do you hear me?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Yes, it's better.
Okay. As I said, on the second visit, we have possibility to ask factory some questionnaire which we have already make and grow. But situation was similar as the first visit because we have meeting with same personnel, same persons, chief engineer, and he did not know additional information, unfortunately. We grow some additional informations, numbers, but not sufficient for us.
Yeah.
And that's why our tables are
Incomplete.
yes, empty, and they did not contact us via email, via telephone. It is very hard to get some information from them.
But then, then my general advice to your group would be write clearly in your report
Uh-huh.
that on our request, information was not available, was not made available.
Yes,
Right.
unfortunately,
That's
yes.
very important that you, in this report, that you show that you are concerned with the information. You think that this is important, but the company doesn't have this information, or
Yes,
did not supply you. That's
yes,
important.
such kind of important information such as electricity bills,
Not available.
yes, not available for us.
Available, and that's then you also take off all the questions towards you. Then you phase it out to the company. If company is not, you can also comment if this information is not available with the company, or they simply didn't let you know.
Yes.
Sometimes the company doesn't have this information. So.
Yes.
But if we go now to this report, section 3, and the flow sheet, flow chart.
Uh-huh.
And then you made this flow chart.
I will open it.
Yeah. Maybe Dmitry, can you open the file? Yeah, with the final comments and put on the screen.
Константин доступ должен дать мне.
Сейчас. Ага. Ну, давайте.
This is GM group or Titan?
GM.
Yeah, you mean GM, yes? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I already opened. Please repeat which section.
The section flow chart and input output identification.
Okay. Okay, yes, I found.
Okay.
Page number 8.
Yes, thank you, Georgi. Yes, I found it.
Okay, this is a. Okay, this is a new.
This is Titan. This is not GM. This is Titan.
Yeah, but Dmitry.
Не тот отчет.
Yeah.
Сейчас. Так. Сейчас сделаем.
Георгий.
Да.
Аведжи в интернет.
Имеешь виду? Это как Фигаро ты, да? Туда-сюда.
Связь плохая.
Так, сейчас. Все правильно.
Okay. This is, I think, it's well described flow chart.
Yes.
I didn't understand. Everything in English. Maybe you could look into our comments and clarify after that. We don't have time now to go through them, but there are some parts that I was not able to understand. But the main comment is here is that I don't see where if they have any waste. If they have any losses of product, of, for example, scale, of, for example, juice concentrate losses and things like this. So you probably need to make an best possible estimate. And losses in this type of production process would also be. But very good that you showed that somewhere water is used, somewhere is electricity is used. This is very good that you show.
Okay, so
But what happens with, for example, you call, for example, if we take pasteurizer, right?
yes.
You use water, hot water. You make water hot. But what happens after that with this water? I don't know. I don't see from this flow chart. So maybe you should not just simply indicate yourself what is coming in, but you should also indicate what goes out, and in terms not necessarily the product, but also waste, losses, and wastewater, things like this.
Yes, understand.
And I gave you some questions. For example, if water from pasteurizer is quite warm, could it be reused somehow?
Okay, we will update this flow chart and we indicate input and output materials. This is a basic scenario what happen in factory, and we update this.
Mm-hmm. But then also you have here evaporator, the
Yes.
last step in the process for producing the concentrate. But how is it done? I don't understand evaporation. What kind of equipment is used? This is probably you need to specify. So look please through the questions.
Okay, to be honest, this flow chart is based on some explain from personal, and we get this information also from GM webpage, where it is written clearly what process is in factory, and we mixed these informations and we put in a flow chart.
Yeah, but maybe you should also comment that this information comes from fragmentary data you got from the company and from the website.
Yes, basic
Yeah.
basic processes step by step is good written in page, and this information was very useful for us, and we mixed on site visit information.
I think you have in this report. You have been using all this. I understand that you don't have information, very little. But maybe still you would need to use the correct form for the mass balance for one. So please use the right form.
Okay. I have a question. How is this form? It is good form, or we have to some changes or on flow chart?
It's more complex, more complex form.
Uh-huh.
The one they use the one they use is simplified form from the company visit report, but
Okay.
that form you can get from Constantine. It might be difficult for you to fill this form because you don't have enough information, but at least what you indicated here you could transfer to the form that you will receive.
Okay.
Use the correct form.
Okay.
Now you also ranking of raw materials and resources as opportunities: electricity, raw materials, gas, and water. This is yeah. I think it's more or less it's at the level you have this information. It's okay. This form ranking of this table ranking of raw materials and resources as opportunities. But what I miss in this report is description of the process. You have a couple of pictures, and you have this flow chart, but you don't describe in written this how the process looks like and what is going on. And that is one why for me and for the reader it's difficult to understand the process itself. You can make probably this flow chart more compact. You probably should just use maybe washing process, then grinding process, then extraction, then pasteurization, things like this with one keyword. But description should be put in text and maybe as detailed as possible. It is not easy to read the description in these boxes to understand this. Then the issue is you have calculated that from 10,000 tons of mandarins, you get 800 tons of juice concentrate, right? And then you also have calculated from that how much scale from mandarins you would receive. So this could be also put in this mass balance table. But I also looked a little bit in the. Have you had the opportunity to look into the publications, books, and relevant literature? There are lots of guidelines and reference books on this juice production and concentrate processes, and there are some key performance indicators, and you don't have data. Maybe you haven't asked this data, but you can ask these questions kind of like water use per ton, energy use per ton of juice. I showed you some indicators which are common in this branch. The main indicator is juice yield, how well they are pressing, crushing their mandarins, and how well they are peeling these mandarins, and how well they are extracting juice. These indicators are very normal for evaluation and monitoring. And if the company doesn't give you any information, but you still have some figures on how much mandarins have been used, for example, in December 2020, and how much juice has been extracted, and maybe they also maybe they have this data, and surely they have data about the concentrate yield. So maybe you should compare, because here you bring the concentrate to 58.5%. So you have some norms that you can compare with. I think I didn't go deep into details, but you say that 58% should be evaporated, or other way, maybe 42% should be evaporated. So you can calculate theoretically what is the norm, and then try to see if this norm matches figures. This is what I would do, would have been done in this report. And also I would have done in this report under the section 4.4, if you are not having enough data, then I will just mention that we recommend you to make measurements of your efficiency process, and good practice internationally is to calculate the juice yield, extraction losses, and the parameters that I mentioned, and monitor them during maybe on a daily basis, or I don't know, batch basis. How they work, I don't know so well. That's one of my questions. Then another my questions and suggestions is that I don't know, they do have a crushing machine or dispenser, or they use energy for this. They use they have a juice extractor, which probably uses a lot of electricity. They also have this pasteurizer. So they use also probably keep for some time this juice concentrate in a cold storage, in a chiller. I don't know. It would have been very good to have kind of an estimate of energy balance in this company, or energy budget. Which process is most energy consuming? Is it, for example, pasteurizer that takes most of energy, or not? Also, I would come across some thoughts about I don't understand from this report. For example, pasteurizer, they raise the temperature to 110 centigrades, right? And then pasteurize to 80%, at 80 centigrades. And then the question is, why do they raise the temperature in pasteurizer for that the difference is how many, 30 centigrades between? Is it correct, or do you think, have you analyzed, is it effective or not to have the to raise the temperature at 110, but while the pasteurization temperature is much lower? Why is that? And so I would think about who are the main users of energy, and would think about are they working effective, and how, for example, what is efficiency, for example, of heat exchange or heat exchange in the pasteurizer? Do we know? And do we know, for example, what's happening with the hot water coming out from the pasteurizer? Is it possible to use it, for example, for any other process or not?
Let me add my comments, general comments for the process descriptions and for our observations. Unfortunately, both of our visits were during the time where when the company was not operating, because their operation time, I mean the production, and manufacturing time, is during the autumn period, and we were in February and in summertime, so we could not have a possibility to observe the operation itself. That's why what we have described here, and one, thank you very much, he described as detailed as it was possible from our how our host described it.
Mhm.
And we added our experience and etc. Our comment there. So regarding to the data, unfortunately, it was impossible to observe the situation and grasp the data. So it requires not just a couple of hours, it requires a couple of days to observe it and get the data on of each process. That's why our process is as detailed as it could be at that time. It's my general comment.
Yeah, but that maybe you should also mention this in the report.
Well, if it's necessary, yes, we could add it. Of course,
Otherwise,
because yes.
I would think that this is your fault.
And imagine the situation that we come to the fabric, the plant, the facility which does not operate, and we ask the question about the operation, and we ask the question just the guys who are not quite involved in such processes.
Yeah.
They just tell us the general flow management, etc. And we, based on our experience, based on experience of Mr. Nudar, we describe it as we knew from our experience, but it's not. It doesn't reflect the whole reality, which is at the site.
Mhm.
That's why we have concentrated afterwards. We have concentrated only one facility, only one energy facility, and there the steam machines, other this energy recycle production, is more or less these processes we have described in more details, and we provided our suggestions only for 3 directors, including only one facility. Yes, only describing only one facility. This energy steam machine and some other besides machineries. That's it. Okay. It's my general comment. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Georgi.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand that it's unfortunate for your team that you were not able to see them running production. But was it, as far as I understand, was it possible? They're working very limited period, few months, right?
Yes, from October till December, I think.
Was it possible to obtain production data and energy consumption data over this production period?
As Rama mentioned, we have asked several times about this production data, but for some reasons, maybe they do not trust us fully. Maybe there is some constraints with the data gathering. Who knows? They couldn't provide it to us.
Yeah, but I understand. It's a no way situation. It's a not loss situation when company is not
Yeah.
working and production data is not available.
So and from my understanding, this so in order to get this data, we have to be there physically. We have to be there, and it means that we have to visit the site for 3rd time. So in the autumn period. Now, I mean now, but now the project is at the end.
Yeah,
So
it's clear.
we should.
But then I would suggest you to indicate in your report what is our advice is main parameters, maybe the KPI which I have listed we have listed in our comments as our suggestion to the company to closely follow, and this is a common practice to measure these KPIs. We don't know whether they do or not, but our advice is as follows. And you don't have much knowledge about understanding and figures to assess efficiency of pasteurization process, efficiency of extraction process, how is the crushing of how is
sorry, about the experience and about the proficiency, how to access and how to monitor the flow and process flow. We have enough experience. Myself, I am quite experienced in such kind of processes, not in energy efficiency, maybe in terms of energy efficiency, but in terms of process description, in terms of assessment of wastes. Wastes, yes, we can do it, but for this we should be on site. We should monitor the process.
Yeah, but the process was closed.
Yes.
That's yeah.
Yes.
So now we move into the opportunity areas. And
Dear colleagues, let me make one note. In 5 minutes, the Zoom will turn off, and please join on the same link, same meeting link, and we will proceed another 40 minutes.
Could Georgi, yeah, 5 minutes. Could Georgi, Nadar, and Ivanov quickly explain the measures that you suggest? And starting cylindrical tank packaging, you mean insulation or what?
Yes, insulation.
Okay, and this is cylindrical tank. You should probably want to say what processes happens. Do they store something there, or is it where the extraction taking place? What happens there?
Condensate storage tank.
Hmm.
This is condensate storage tank. Hello.
Condensate from what?
Condensate from equipment of pasteurization.
Okay, some
Pasteurizație. После pasteurizație.
pasteurizer.
Yeah. Na dajte tu tila. Ce otworzyła.
Yeah, and then the second opportunity area is cold water pump is replaceable with a more efficient pump, right? What cold water pump is replaceable with K type of pump? What is K type of pump?
We have some picture in our report of this tank, and we and Mr. Noda think this tank must be installed instead of old pump.
Yeah, replace the pipe coming. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, this pump is next to this tank. Yes, this one.
I think it's good that if you will dare to describe a little bit your idea to understand better. And is it that it's not possible at all to make calculations? For example, for isolation of this previous measure, I assume it's possible to make an estimate of how much heat losses will be prevented.
Yes, understood.
Yeah, so you probably,
תפול נגעת וקითხבה, הבנו.
Mhm. I don't see it's difficult to understand these measures. Then the same is replace the pipe coming out of the pump with a high cross-section pipe. Is it that the dimension of the pipe is not enough, or what do we say with this measure? It's not clear. It needs to be, I think, elaborated for us to understand. Yeah, so I think you should probably do this, but there are lots of recommendations.
Yes.
There are lots of recommendations, and also you found several issues that with poor insulation and with rusty pressure regulators that are not insulated at all and needs to be replaced. So this is good. Maybe you could maybe there are too many small measures. Maybe you could pack them in fewer number of measures if you want. And I see that Nodar has advised a lot on that.
Let me stop recording and recall again, yes, because it will turn off now.
Хорошо.
Okay.